If you are currently deciding whether you want to go to uni or not, or you have decided that you do want to go but just want to be better informed before you do go, then this video may be right for you. I'm going to recap my last 4 years of uni experience and share the advice that I would give to my former self. But before I talk about my personal experiences, I'm going to share some general tips and questions for you to consider. Of the course that you are considering studying, what are the jobs that a graduate typically gets? And what does a day in the life look like for someone working this job? By knowing this, you can contrast what you are currently doing with what you could be doing for a living. This is more difficult to estimate for certain jobs and certain courses, but it's still worth considering. If you can, get into contact with someone that's already working in the industry and ask them a few questions to help better inform your decision about what to study. Find out whether a typical worker in the industry has a degree or not, and what skill set they look for in new employees. This takes a lot less time than potentially spending 3 or 4 years studying a course that you may at the end not even be interested in. Once you have a good idea of what a typical day in the life looks like for a graduate on your course, find out your course's curriculum and look for free online resources that can teach you these subjects before you pay to go on a course to study them. This way you can get a general idea of whether you're going to enjoy studying this course or not. If it's not something that you would enjoy learning in your free time right now on the internet, then you probably don't want to be doing it for 3 or 4 years at uni. Try to find out how many people have joined your course, and of the number of people that joined your course, how many of them graduated. Out of those who graduated, find out how many are actually working in the industry. You could get into contact with these graduates to ask them those questions that I was mentioning earlier. Another important consideration before going to uni is whether you're using it as an excuse not to start working for a few more years. I'm guilty of this. And I was also convinced that I would be paid a lot more if I had a degree, but that would only be true if I actually made it into the industry that I was studying. The reality is there is no avoiding work. It's going to happen eventually, you've got to work. You might as well start saving some money, working a few different jobs. You may find jobs that you like and you may find jobs that you don't like. But this will just help inform your decision of what to study later. My final top tip is to understand uni tuition fees. It's different from country to country, but in the UK they advertise it at £9,250 per year for UK and European students. What they don't tell you off the bat is that there's an interest rate. So you end up not paying £30,000 at the end of your course, you can pay anywhere between £50,000 and £130,000. So I recommend, wherever you're planning studying, get a proper idea of how much the real cost of the finances is. Now I'm going to be talking about my personal experiences of going to uni. I grew up hearing from my parents and from my teachers and other adults that going to uni is the most sensible thing to do once you finish school. Now in hindsight I don't feel the same way, but this is my mentality as I was going into uni. I went to uni with hopes of one day being a programmer in the IT industry. The way that I was introduced to programming in school was solving a bunch of logical exercises that the teacher gave me. I never made my own piece of software, I never made an application, and I never did it in my free time. I never got home at the end of the day and thought, oh, let me make something, let me actually do some programming. I only ever did it in an academic environment, and that's one of the first signs that I wasn't really made for programming. It's not something that I ever did just for wanting to do it. So the course I decided to study at uni was computer games technology. I did this for a few reasons. 1, it's somewhat related to programming. 2, it's probably a fun way to do programming. 3, I like video games. And 4, I wanted to leave home and live in the UK. Now in computer games technology specifically, there are 3 areas that you would normally fall into. It's either programming, game design, or art. So before studying a computer games tech course, I recommend that you answer these 4 questions. How much programming do you do in your free time? How much game design or coming up with game levels or game ideas do you do in your free time? How much art do you make in your free time? And how much of your free time do you spend making video games? If your answer to the question is almost no hours for any of these, then you should probably consider studying a different course. My answer back then was close to no hours, and today it's still close to no hours. And although I did the work that the lecturers asked me to do, I never did anything out of my own free will in my free time. Now that I finished uni, I no longer think that it's as useful as I had envisioned it before I went. University isn't meant to be a place where you discover whether you like something or not. It should be a place where you go to further your knowledge in something that you're already certain that you are interested in, and that you have been practicing in your free time. If you're feeling a bit stuck right now, then I would give consideration to these following questions. How do you spend your free time? What is it that you're passionate about? What is something that you enjoy doing and that you're good at, but you're not currently getting paid for? Are there jobs that pay for expertise in that area? Is there a course that would give you the skill set to be able to one day get a job that could pay you for that? Is this course available online, or is it only available at a university? Answering these questions will help you frame the advantages and disadvantages of both going to university and not going to university. If you've got any questions, please leave a comment and I'll be happy to answer.